Thank you, Mackenzie, for coming in for an interview today for the daycare teacher position that we have open. We expect that this interview is going to last about 15 or 20 minutes at most, so just kind of keep an eye on the time as we go along. I just have a few questions for you, and then I'll give you a chance to ask me a question or two at the end of our interview. Generally, our interview and hiring process takes about a week or maybe two, but I'll definitely keep in touch with you and let you know where we are in the process. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go on with our first question. Provide an example of a time you made a mistake, what you did, and what was the outcome.
I think in my most recent job, I take care of a couple of special needs children, and with one of them, you have to be more you have to ask close-ended questions. You can't ask open-ended questions. So I think a mistake that I made and a learning process that I went through was asking her what she wanted for lunch. So we were just in home, and I asked her what she wanted for lunch, and she came up with all of these extravagant ideas about going to Red Robin and going to Subway and wanting this or that. And I had to explain to her that I meant something in home. And because of the situation, she didn't understand why we couldn't go to Red Robin since I asked her what she wanted for lunch, and that's obviously what she wanted. Mm-hmm. So I had to then change my question to what she wanted in home, so whether it was a sandwich or mac and cheese. And I think from that I learned to start asking her more closed-ended questions rather than open-ended, and giving her options rather than letting her choose.
Okay, perfect. That sounds great. So sometimes in this daycare we have parents who are upset about a decision or maybe heard something that happened in daycare and they're upset. They might have a complaint. How would you, as the daycare teacher on site, handle a parent with a complaint?
If I were on site and the parent came in with a complaint, I would definitely start by listening and made sure that they felt listened to and that I heard everything that they were coming to, because I know that if you feel like you're not being listened to, you can get more angry. And I would listen to what they had to say and listen to any questions they had, and then offer my feedback, as in offering to tell them maybe everything that was going on, the situation that was presented, and that the environment that it was in, so that they really understood why that situation might have happened.
Okay. And just as a follow-up to that, if you were unable to resolve the issue, what would your next steps be?
If it was out of my realm of resolving, I would offer my supervisor. And so I would let them know, maybe if the supervisor were there, I would offer where her office was, and so she could go and talk to her directly. If she wasn't there, I would give a phone number that it would be easiest to call and reach her at.
Okay, perfect. And I know this seems like a silly question because you're applying for a daycare position, but why do you like working with children?
This is a great question. I love kids. So I have always worked with kids. For the past 10 years, I've been kind of doing some little babysitting jobs, and then I got into working with special needs kids, which kind of gives you a different understanding of children and helps you to be able to work with all kinds of developmentally ranged children, and helps you with different situations. So I think in a daycare setting, it would be amazing to work with all of these kids just because they provide so much happiness, and they kind of give you a whole new outlook on life, and you kind of go through life as an adult being so grumpy and seeing all the bad things in life. And as I know they say, kind of if you want to know what happiness is, hang out with a kid, because they see all the good in life, and they make up these games that you might think originally like, oh my gosh, why would you want to do that? Like, that is actually like, you want to throw a ball in a cup? Like, okay. But you can sit for hours throwing a ball in a cup, and they introduce all of these new factors, and it's just a real good time. And I think that putting a smile on kids' face is one of the best things.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to add that I should know about you? any previous experience, anything that you want to add that might set you above the rest of the applicants?
I think one of the only things that I mentioned prior is that I have been working with special needs kids or children and adults of all ages. But I think what that sets me apart, because even if I am working with typical children and they provide a example of a attitude that might be presented more in a special needs child, then I am better equipped to handle that. And I'm better equipped to handle different situations between kids, and I feel like I'm very patient because of my background, and I have very good problem solving skills because of the children that I've worked with in the past. And so I feel like in daycare, you don't really know the kids that you're getting. It's kind of just all of them, and they all play together, and you are presented with all sorts of different situations all of the time, every day. And I just think that because of my experience with special needs kids and even the babysitting that I've done for my whole life, that I would be great in this position.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate it. Do you have any questions for me?
I am curious about how you provide feedback, actually. So if there's something that I'm doing wrong or there's something that I could better improve on, I'm just wondering how you would provide that feedback to me.
Okay, great question. So we actually set up a time every month where you and I would meet for about 15 minutes, and we would go over your production, we'd go over your classroom, we talk about curriculum, how things are going for you. If there was any negative feedback that I had for you during that time, then I would let you know about that, and then we could work on a plan to better develop your skills to move forward so that you can be successful in your career here. Otherwise, it would just be a review over how you've been doing and your positive, the positive points. And then we'd also talk about how you would like to see things, if you had any ideas or implements, any changes or implements in the classroom. We would review that, and so that we can work collaboratively for your classroom.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming
in
today.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.